ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. In this context, I wanted to mention a couple of days before it was Shankaracharya's Jayanti. It was that's why I had sent some of the Guru Stotra verses that day. Interestingly, I'm not sure if everyone knows here, Guru Purnima marks something to do with Vyasacharya. So that's what Guru Purnima is actually. So on Guru Purnima day, normally like Chinmaya mission and all such missions, like Ramakrishna mission, Swami Dayananda Saraswati mission, they all have special lectures for that Guru Purnima itself, because it has got something to do with Vyasacharya, because of whom we have Vedas in the script form today, and that's available. So when we do the Guru Stotram, like Sadashiva Samarambham, we have to thank the Guru Parampara and get their blessings. Okay, so with this we'll start. So last time there was a presentation by Shankaracharya ji where he was mentioning what kind of vichara and what kind of hair splitting exercise it is to arrive at oneself, because one has certain identities about oneself, certain ideas about oneself, which themselves become a bondage. And these ideas, to the extent they are all wrong, which invariably is wrong normally, they are identified, they are called out by Shastra one by one, and they are dispelled. So, ignorance is the basis for all this wrong identification. It's an error committed at these levels, and it's naturally so. Shastra comes as a help to point out these errors and free the person who is a mumukshu of all these errors, and once the error is removed, he is already free, because bondage is because of these boundaries and wrong identification, and once that wrong identification is removed, samsara problem is gone. So this is the approach of Shastra. So the previous verse was linking this kind of a vichara, how to split certain things, how to split the not self from self, and how to challenge the general understanding. So that was a presentation which was given. Now as we go in the subsequent lines, each of this, wherever we commit this mistake, each of this kosha or each of this body, where we commit mistakes and where we identify ourselves with that particular entity or the particular state, these are dealt with little bit more in details, because it was already said in the previous verse that Vivichya tatra pravilapya sarvam. Amongst all those different kinds of species of grass and many things available there, you want to pick up that munja grass. So it needs proper identification, separation, and then removal of the stack. Like that, each of these. So what are these? The mistakes are committed around Shariratraya, Stula Shukshma Karana Sharira, and they are committed in Avasthatraya, correspondingly Jagrata Swapna Sushupti, and they are committed at the level of Panchamaya Kosha. So Panchamaya Kosha, they are also Pancha Koshas, they are also explained. So wherever one can make a mistake, whether at a physiological level or at a psychological level, whichever order one can commit a mistake, Shastra points out those areas, and rightfully so, Shankaracharya is picking up each of these points of error and explaining them to an extent, also logically concluding as to why each of these states or each of the Sharira is not fit to be that Atma which is ever free. So earlier in the verses it was mentioned that Atma is that which is free, which witnesses everything, and in turn that can never be witnessed by any of the tattva which is available. Atma is that which is the sole witness of everything. The ultimate witness is that which in turn cannot be witnessed by any other thing. So this is how Atma was presented, and all the discussions from now on will be focused in relation to Atma. So this is how it's going to be. It was said in the previous verse that we have to hair split everything, really identify, keep that what is not Atma, arrive at what is Atma. So vivichya tatra pravilapya sarvam tadatmana tishtati yaha samuktaha. So having separated everything and having identified that and remaining as Atma, he is the one who is liberated. Yaha samuktaha. Tadatmana tishtati yaha. The one who stands just as Atma, pure Atma alone, without any of these wrong understandings and wrong attachments, is that person who is Atma, and he is finally the Mukta. Okay, so that's where it's leading to. Now this vichara in vivichya tatra, that separation has to happen at every level. Now this next verse 46 is taking gross body as the object of experiment and examination. Now deho ayam anna bhavano annamayastu koshah channena jivati vinashyati tadvihinaha त्वच्चर्म मांस रुधिरास्ति पुरीश राशिः नायं स्वयं भवितुम अर्हति नित्य शुद्धः. So the last part, what does it say? It says gross body is like this thing. I mean, the first three lines it says what is gross body, and then it concludes saying this kind of gross body, it doesn't befit to be Atma. So now Atma is being compared every time. This is relative to Atma. So Atma has to be borne in mind. What is Atma? Atma is that which exists everywhere, which is happiness personified kind of, and which is ever existing. So these are all, words for mind to understand. Only so many words can, kind of explain it, and words really cannot explain it. So Atma is that which is the ultimate witness, which has got no cause for itself. It is the cause of everything, and in turn it has no other cause. So Swamiji very nicely puts it in a phrase: Atma is the ultimate cause and everything else is because. So nicely he puts it that way, Swami Dayananda Saraswati. So here, this Deha is Anna Bhavana. It is the place, it's like a nice place, venue made of Anna. And this is basically Annamaya Kosha. Cha annena jivati. Cha annena jivati. This Deha, what is there? It sustains because of food only. Cha is annena, by food. Jivati, it lives only based on food. Vinashyati tadvihinaha. Tadvihinaha means without that it dies. Okay, it perishes. So if someone doesn't eat food and water, of course, they may stay for some time, because body has its own mechanism of thriving for some time. Uh, and our body will use up every cell that is inside, and it will start eating that, because the survival instinct, the desirer is inside, the survival instinct comes from the desirer actually. And that is always there actually. And then, no, I have to survive, because that wrong identification is so strong. That's the energy which drives the survival instinct, the very survival instinct. And that basically makes body to program so nicely that fine, if outside food is not coming in, now let me first eat the fat, and then probably it will eat some of those other cells as well, whatever is available, maybe unwanted cells. There are so many cells inside the body which keep wandering here and there, and they're also eaten away. And then when it comes to maybe some more kind of starvation, it will start eating some of the live cells as well. So body finally knows how to thrive within that given circumstance. It knows how to thrive. So maybe a person can live for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, maybe depending on their own disposition of so many cells and how that body metabolizes and that body survives. So it's possible for someone to live for years without food, possible. But after that, there will be definitely one time where body has to give up, because the body is made of anna, and it has to be fed anna for it to keep on moving. So this is something like a working capital in a company actually. So if working capital stops, company stops. So something like that. You have to keep giving this food every time, and the cells die, and again you give food, cells die, again you give food, new cells grow. So this is what keeps happening. So vinashyati tadvihinaha, without that it dies. So we all know this. We are just examining. We are talking about this well-known fact only for examination. Tvak charma mamsa rudira asti purisha rashihi. So it's made up of 6 components, and they can be further divided into many more. So tvak is dermis, then epidermis, charma, mamsa is flesh, tvak charma mamsa, rudira is blood, asti is bone, purisha is veins and nerves. So it's a mix of these things. Now, something which is so dependent for its existence on external things, by chance it is existing, just by chance it is existing, that okay, food is coming at the right time, people are eating, and then the person is eating the food, and it is just thriving because that external thing is going on. The milkman is giving, fetching that milk packet every day, and everything is available, money is available, supermarket is available, or at least bhiksha is available. It is available, so this body is sustained. And it is made of components. So I think homemakers will understand when washing machine doesn't work. So there is only one part, small part, which is not there, and due to which it's not working. And even in a TV or any other electronic equipment, small chip is not working, the entire thing collapses. So until that is ordered, and luckily someone has to get it on time, and luckily someone has to have the right mechanic to put it there, and then it starts working. So the dependency is so much. So anything that is made of components, the components can fail at some point in time, and these have to be replaced for the whole system to work. So we see that this body, not only it is dependent on external world for food, based on which it exists, it also exists on a particular blueprint wherein certain components are put together in a particular way, and only in that particular way it operates. And if the component, the circuit is disturbed, then this becomes a problem. So with all these ifs and buts, it's a great blessing that this body exists. So it is a precarious situation in which it actually exists. So the last line says, this kind of a precarious thing, can it be ever equal to the status of Atma, that which is always free and that which is everywhere and that which is the witness of everything. It cannot be. Na ayam swayam bhavitum arhati. It's not befit. Nitya Shuddha, to be that Nitya Shuddha, which is Atma. So this is what is mentioned in verse 46. Now, whenever there is an examination, that examination has to be so thorough that any other view should not be possible. So this entire Shastra, from a Sampradaya perspective, whenever it is delivered with so many logical statements, because mind being a thing which always doubts, the doubts have to be removed. The basic problem was pointed to be error, which is a psychological condition, and the psychological condition has to be taken care of. It cannot be ignored. Whatever be the error, it cannot be ignored, and it has to be taken for examination. The inherent doubts have to be brought out and killed. This is the only process in which moksha is obtained. Freedom is obtained only through self-knowledge. For that, self-ignorance is the thing to be addressed systematically. And since this is a psychological condition, it is not a physical exercise, it is more vichara, which is what is very important. Now, having discussed that gross body to that level, a further examination is done also in the next verse. Purvam Janer. Yes, someone is asking some question.
We can't hear you.
How long? Okay, how long you could not hear?
Last 30 seconds.
30 seconds? Okay. I think accidentally my hand would have gone into this muting button. I'll remove the cursor from the mute button. Okay. So, the previous verse was talking about this Annamaya and this gross body, and it was declaring that this kind of a precarious thing can never be that Atma. And a further analysis is done, because there is an examination happening. So someone cannot just give a cursory statement and then run away. So this is being examined. That vivichya tatra, that's very important. That examination is happening now. Further it is examined. Gross body is examined. Purvam janer adhivriterapi nayam asti. Jata kshana kshana guno aniyeta svabhavaha. Naiko jadascha ghatavat paridrishyamanaha. Swatma khatam bhavati bhava vikara veta. So, Purvam janer adhivriterapi nayam asti. So, this body, before it came about to exist, was not there before. This is a very clear statement for everyone. We all have celebrated this birthday, so we know that okay, that was the day we were born. So that is very clear. Before that, we were not there. So Purvam janer adhivriterapi nayam asti. It was not there. And jata kshana kshana guno aniyeta svabhavaha. Every minute this keeps changing. As we know, our body cells keep dying and growing every moment. This keeps happening. Continuously this is keeping on happening. Certain things may be lasting for a longer time, exhibiting qualities to an extent that they have been perennially there for a longer time, for some time, like DNA. So some of these things, they continue. But body as such, what we see, it keeps on changing. And I am sure everyone would appreciate that when we were born, we are of maybe kind of 3 kgs or 4 kgs. And now each one weighs whatever weight it is. That's not possible unless, we have been adding, so much. Also, every time we clinically examine ourselves, we find that certain unwanted cells are there in blood test report. Everywhere you can see that. And due to medicine or whatever, or natural cure as well, over a period you will see those things are all gone. So obviously, unless they are dying out, they will never go out of the body. So we all know this, that Also, I think biology, contemporary biology has also given so much of knowledge about these things. So, Jata Kshana Kshanagunu Aniyata Swabhavaka. This keeps on changing. And Naiko Jadascha Ghatavat Paridrishyamanaha. This is also a gross thing which can be seen just like a pot. We see our gross body, it is available for our perception itself very clearly. That is how we recognize, and that is how when we see ourselves in the mirror, we know, yes, this is me. So we see ourselves just like that pot. It is available for perception. Last line says, how come that Atma, which is the witness of everything, can become that which keeps on changing like this? The ultimate witness is the invariable based on which every variable thing is objectified and understood as a variable thing. Now, if this itself keeps changing, obviously other variable things can never be understood. So Atma is presented as that which never changes. It is Nitya Shuddha, it is always unblemished, stands intact. So this body, being subject to so many changes, can never be that Atma. Nayam Swayam Bhavitum Arhati Nitya Shuddha was mentioned there. Here this statement is Swatma Katham Bhavati Bhava Vikara Vetta. Bhava Vikara Vetta, the one which is the witness of all changes. How come that Atma be this? This body which keeps changing every second. So that is what is mentioned in this line. So basically you will see the pattern. One is Atma was presented in one of the earlier verses as to what it is. It was presented as that ultimate witness. And Nitya Shuddha. Always it is pure, ever pure. Without any impurities attached to it. It is ever pure. It was presented. Now everything to which we attach our identity is taken up for examination. Munjadishikamiva Drishya Vargat. So there it was given as that example. Now we are taking every item to which we identify ourselves to. And our identification, as I will repeat, our identification, the wrong identification is based on Shariratraya, Avasthatraya and Panchakosha, body, mind and intellect. Okay, so these. So body, mind and intellect is a summary. And then if you examine this and then give some more detailing, then it will become Shariratraya, Avasthatraya and Panchakosha. So this is how these are all the areas where we mistake our body to be. I was just thinking of one example. We have this game, right, where at least we used to play in Tamil Nadu this game. So kids, they keep their line, their hand on a table or somewhere like this. And whenever one calls the name of birds, then they should say Parapara. Para means Udna. So fly, that's what it means. So if I say crow, all the kids should say Parapara, means fly. And if I say stone, they should not. But if they say, then they are out. So that person is out. So that's a game. So here we are training the mind to identify itself to a particular jati of any species, for example, and respond accordingly. This is what we are invoking. So basically here we are training that mind to associate with that bird kind of species. Wherever the word actually connotes bird, do that particular thing. Other place you should not. So basically it's a conditioning, and that conditioning is what is tested there. So this is what identification is all about. For that particular 5 minutes or 10 minutes of play, each of them, they are just focusing on bird, non-bird. And what is to be acted upon is basically the word bird actually. So bird, they identify themselves with bird at that point in time. The concept of bird, for example. So this conditioning is very important. Until that game happens, everyone is so clear. Anything, the moment bird is called, I am the one who is supposed to respond. If they don't respond also, they become out actually. I mean, if someone has said, if there are 5 guys and 4 of them said fly, when peacock is mentioned and one doesn't do, then he is again out. So you are out if you say fly for a non-bird word, and if you do not say fly for a bird word, again you are out. So now this conditioning makes everyone attached so closely to this concept of bird. Any word coming as bird, I have to immediately respond. This is the conditioning. I just wanted to take this as an example. This conditioning is what is there in us as well as a default setting. When a person is born, he identifies without anyone teaching that person that he is this body. Why? I am able to lift my hand when I want to. I can laugh, I can cry, I can move. Obviously, naturally, I am going to think that I am this because it just listens to me. So I am that. So it's very clearly that is the understanding, and that default understanding only is being questioned, being pointed out. If Shastra is not there, there is no way that this even clue can come in actually, because that identification is so clear. If you call a person and say, hey, come on, come here. The moment you say come here, he comes. And then you say, do you know one thing? You are not this body. He will laugh actually. Come on. If I was not that body, why did you even expect me to come when you asked me to come? So that will be the question. Mind is very, very, very logical, and it has great capabilities to think. It will ask this question. So you expected me to come, and obviously my body to come. And now you are telling me that I am not this body. Come on, don't joke. So this is what mind will say, and Shastra knows this is what will happen. And that is the reason Shastra has to go further, further, further and further to satisfy this mind, to clarify all the doubts and all these wrong understandings that mind has. One more example I want to give. In a class where you have about 30 students, let's simulate a game in essence, some kind of an activity where the teacher says, okay, those who are, let's assume that this is a 12th standard where almost people are good, well and grown up. So those who are above 5 feet and less than 5.5 feet, come this side. So guys, they know, one person at least knows probably, what his exact height is, and he says, oh, I'm just 5 feet and so many inches. And others also tag on to him saying fine, because they can find out they are all of the same height. So they tag on and they come and form one group. And of the rest, the teacher says fine, whosoever is up to 6, go to another place, form another group. And now all those guys who are in 6, because the moment someone touches 6, everyone knows, oh, I'm 6. So they are there. And the rest, in another group. Now, when this kind of an instruction is given, this is associated with gross body because it is physical feature. So the person immediately recognizes himself with gross body, has to think, okay, am I 5 feet and there's so many inches or less than 5 feet? That's all, and then he has to go. So this is completely a gross body related stuff. Now, supposing you have, 10, 10, 10 equally, these gentlemen are there. You will find them physically there, okay, most of them are of similar size in those respective group. Now again, teacher says, go back, take your positions. And the next exercise is, okay, now we want those people who are creative to go on the left side, and those who are less creative and more kind of, analytical and process oriented, go this side. So again, people will identify with, their own ideas, whatever, they would have experienced earlier, someone is creative or not. So they would identify, saying, yeah, I am creative. Yeah, I am more, on the other side, whatever it is, logical, whatever it is you can say. So they will identify quickly themselves. In this case, gross body has no relevance. This is more to do with the psychological order. In this case, the Sukshma Sharira part of it is invoked. it is the same person who's responding. Now, in the second exercise, you will see that these two group, they are of different sizes in terms of height. So one with 4 feet and one with 6.5 feet. Both of them, they are in this kind of group, one group. So their gross body has nothing to do with what has been asked now. A person can be creative irrespective of whether he is 2 feet, 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet, whatever feet. The tricky part here which one has to understand is, one is able to switch the identity. And that's the trick. When a person is said, boss, if you are 6 feet, please come, he is responding. And then when he is said, if you are creative, please come, again he is responding. And consciously he is joining with another person who is 4 feet. And he understands what is being spoken about is about the Sukshma Sharira, to which he responds and he identifies himself with. He cannot send the Sukshma Sharira out saying, boss, now you go out. It doesn't do that. He's coming along with this gross body only as a package and he is there. But point is very clear that one is able to switch the identity from gross to subtle. And this example I had given last time as well, actually, I think, where in a yoga class, you have asana based exercises and you have chakra based exercises. Asana based exercises, they address gross body. In chakra based exercises, gross body is brought to a stable condition to an extent it would not bother, and from that stable, comfortable condition, what is invoked is Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body. Subtle body is addressed, and the instruction after this, stability of gross body is achieved. The further instructions, they are all related to subtle body. The person need not move his hand or whatever. He has to only concentrate on his capability to focus, that energy. That energy he has to get it together and try to move that energy to different chakras as guided by that guru, whosoever is teaching, that teacher. So it's quite possible. So you are able to move that energy only because you identify with it. You know where it is. You identify with it. That's the reason you are able to. Also, that is pravritti. Okay. In terms of nivritti, at least some of them are capable of doing this. If there is some prick or whatever happening, in their body, like a needle prick, for blood test or whatever it is. Most of us, we try to keep our concentration away. Some of them they can't, but then many, they try to keep the concentration away from that place for that particular moment. It can be 30 seconds or 40 seconds or 50 seconds maximum, depending on what test has been given. Okay. So I used to say many times to these guys, actually saying, boss, if it is so many, will you take, all the blood out? Don't do that. It's something I used to mention many times. Because they will get bottle after bottle, they will keep the empty bottles, you will find, apne liye kuch bachega ki nahi. This happens. So normally, when such a pain is likely to happen, we have the trick to move our concentration away from that particular place, our prana from that place as much as possible, so that that area is as much jada as possible. If it is a pure jada, then you do not feel pain. As long as prana is not available there, it will be only jada. But we can't completely isolate prana from there because that's not possible. But you can reduce the concentration, that energy. You can bring it to some other place. You can chant mantra or whatever it is you can do. Or you can take your concentration to other part of body. You can do that. So, in all this, what we have to understand is that this energy is something which is moving here and there, and our identification with energy is there always. So when you are asked to respond, are you a creative guy? Please come. Yes, that's the response. So this makes very clear that Shastra, when it is talking about identification, this identification is experienced on a day-to-day basis. We are talking about that identification only. When someone is called, we respond and we walk and go towards. Obviously, cross-body understanding. When someone is told that okay, you can just do this, concentrate on the head, this this chakra, that chakra, you are able to do that, though body is quite intact. And also this is in our natural experience of dream, where gross body is completely intact, horizontal. Of course, someone can sit and sleep and dream as well. That's a different thing. Okay, finally, our body is kind of at rest, and then inside there is a world which is going on. There's a guy who's seeing or enjoying it. It's happening. So, Sthula Sharira identity definitely is possible, and Shastra is saying you are committing an error there. You are the ultimate, you are identifying yourself with the Sthula Sharira. Naturally, you get all the limitations of that Sthula Sharira. Even if it was Ravana, Lankeshwara, who had so much of powers actually, even if it was Ravana, the Sthula Sharira identification did not stand all the time finally. So because Sthula Sharira will have to go, even if such a powerful person existed, that body will go. So there is no point identifying with that. Forget alone that Rama or Krishna or any other Dashavatara for that matter, they were all gross bodies taken. The bodies are not there now. Even if Hanuman is Chiranjeevi, it is not necessary that he is continuing with the same body. It's possible that maybe that body continues for whatever reason, because everything has its own kind of longevity. So maybe that miracle is also possible. I do not want to rule it out. But one has to understand that body, the moment it is Sharira, it has to disintegrate, because it has been brought about through combination of things. Even simply coffee, take something which is coffee or tea at home. This is taken for granted. Every day tea is available. So it's taken for granted. Only when you have the problem of logistics, due to which you do not get the tea leaves or this milk, then you will come to know what is the problem. Oh God, chai bhi nahi hai. So this problem, I think everyone witnessed during Corona times. Corona times, logistics became a big issue. So someday something was available, someday something was not available. It was a big deal actually those days. So anything that is dependent, that is brought about with a combination of more than one item, is always bound to have a defect. Always. So body being so, it is Anna Bhavana, made of Anna, made of combination of Tvak Charma Mamsa Rudhira Purisha Asti Rashihi. These. So it is made of these things. Definitely, it cannot be that which can exist forever. So Atma is that which is always there, that which witnesses every variable, being oneself completely invariable. The invariable, the word the can be used for it actually. The invariable is Atma. If that is the Atma which we are trying to arrive at, Munjadishi Kama Vedrishyavargat Pratyunjamatmanam Asangamakriyam Vivichya Tatra Pravilapya. So Vivichya, basically examining, separating. Tatra Pravilapya Sarvam, Pravilapya, having removed everything, Sarvam. Tadatmana Tishtati Yaha Samuktaha. That is what we are doing. That line is the basis for everything that is going to come now. So each of these bodies, each of these kosha, where we commit a mistake, where we all commit a mistake by nature, is presented by Shastra, pointed out by Shastra, and Shastra is again and again saying what is identification and what is wrong identification. And as I mentioned all these examples, we do have this understanding on a day-to-day basis, and that is what is being pointed out by Shastra, saying this understanding is wrong, this understanding is wrong. And Shankaracharya has very nicely written why so. Why is that understanding wrong is also mentioned here. Okay, so with this I would like to pause and give an opportunity for questions. Everyone is in trance, is it?
Bhaskarji Manish,
Yes, please.
we said that we correlate ourselves or Annamaya Sharir as a Atma. But what about Pranamaya Sharir, like the air? So we also associate like without food, yes, still for some time we can survive. But without air, we will not be able. But that is also not Atma.
You are right, absolutely right. And it is methodically introduced. The subsequent verses will include that. You are right, and your thinking is, I think, already set, and the Munjadi Shikamiva is already working now very well. In your case, it's very visible as well. So you are already gone to the next step. That step is also going to be taken up. So each of these level is discussed subsequently, and for each of these level, the logic is given as to why that cannot be Atma. Just like the way it was mentioned for gross body, subtle body is also taken up next. And as we go subtler, that becomes even more interesting, because one needs even more, strength of vichara for those statements, and that's really amazing. So it will come next. Your point is valid, and it is taken up in the subsequent verses in Vivekachudhamani. Because as Atma it was mentioned, Stula Sukshma Karana Sharira Vyatirikta, all this, beyond. Panchakosha Tita. Basically, Panchakosha is also Stula Sukshma Karana Sharira, but they are different models, that's all. And in Panchakosha, you have 5, so it's a little bit more explained even more. That's what you can say. Then Avastha Traya Sakshi. Avastha is more to do with the corresponding bodies, the states with those corresponding bodies is Avastha. So all these are taken up. They are all kind of interrelated, but more refined when we take the next level. So Chariratraya, you have only 3. Then Panchakosha, you have 5. The same thing represented as 5 actually. So the 5 would definitely give much more granular data and detail. And if someone has doubt in those areas, Shastra is trying to even make it finer and say, no, this also, it's not. And whatever finer is possible, Shastra has addressed it. And any doubt in any of the earlier verse also people can ask. The question need not be only related to these 2 verses. It can be related to any of the previous verses. If someone has started reading and they have doubts, this is the right time for discussion. And I think questions only can, raising questions only can, give more clarity, bring more clarity, not only for one person, it can bring clarity for others as well. So, if anyone has some doubt, they can ask.
Sir, this is not related to these 2 verses. I wanted to ask.
Please.
We are all, all this journey is about knowing Atma. Okay, and we are, now we also say that that there is the theory of rebirth. Now, when we look at the theory of rebirth and theory of Karma Yoga, it is also said that we carry our deeds from one life to another life. When Atma is not touched by anything, Atma is above all that, then how Atma will carry this bondage from one birth to another? Atma is beyond everything. Once the person dies, when the Atma gets liberated out of the human body, it doesn't carry any of the things which is being performed as a part of the human body.
Yes.
It is beyond everything.
Yes.
So why it will or how it will carry the, as per the theory of Karma Yoga, how it will carry the karma?
Oh, nice. Good question. Here there are 2 things in what you're asking actually. The other one is an ultimate question. It's a very good question, and that's a tricky question as well. Other part. But there's one more thing also which you're asking. One terminology I have to change. Correct. Atma, when it is mentioned in Vedanta, it talks about that ultimate thing. Okay? Normally, Atma is wrongly used in these Bollywood movies, saying Atma is that particular Karana Sharira. So Atma ऊपर चला गया, मतलब ऊपर कहीं जाएगा नहीं, वो जहाँ रहना उधर ही रहता है. It can go to Pitraloka, it is all okay. So that, see, the one who survives death, okay, as a Sharira, is wrongly mentioned as Atma in Bollywood. And traditionally, some people have the wrong understanding. That is completely wrong. Atma is Nitya Shuddha. It is not affected by any body. It is not bound at all. That is Atma. That is that Atma we are discussing. It's very good you raise this question. First one has to understand what is that Atma which is being mentioned here. Atma is that which is completely free, without any boundaries. Without any boundaries. The one which has got no boundary, the one which is limitless is Atma. But in the sense of body, the spirit, to some extent, we can't use the word spirit, but then anyway, these are all English words given to us. Spirit to some extent maybe you can use, because spirit is something which you can invoke. You can invoke and then you can call it actually as well. You have this board, whatever you call it, you put ABCD, you call the spirit and you can ask it to answer. Ouija board, whatever they call it. So you call that actually. So that is spirit which is still available, wandering here and there around. And when we do Pitrupaksha rituals, it is to the spirit, not Atma. Atma is that which is ever pure, which the one which is moving, the one who's the desirer, who's available as Karana Sharira, is not Atma. So that distinction has to be brought first of all.
Sir. Important thing is, you said spirit and Atma are two different things.
Yes. Spirit, what English says, is different from Atma. Atma, what we are saying, is limitless. It is limitless. It is not stuck in the body. It is everywhere. Atma is limitless. This is the word. So first we have to understand what is the definition of Atma. Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatirikta. And that Karana Sharira is that equivalent of that English spirit. Last time I think I had mentioned this. When you call for attendance in a class, so and so, yes sir, that is gross body. When you call for, the chakra, the one who is doing that job is Sukshma Sharira. When you call a person for accepting that Ahuti and Pinda, it is that Karana Sharira. So, since I do these rituals, otherwise I would not have been knowing this. Since I do these rituals, I can explain this little bit only, not too much about this. So, whenever we invoke our Pitrus, at least what I am doing, I can tell. 3 generations of parents, father's side, male 3 members and female 3 members, and 3 generations of mother's side, male 3 members and female 3 members. We invoke them with names and we offer. And why 3 generations? 3 generations because it is assumed, at least some assumption has to be there. It is assumed that during those periods, the one who was in the 4th one would have probably taken up another body. But there will be someone else. For example, if I am doing something for my 3 generations, my father's younger brother, he would also perform this for 3 generations, which means his 3 generations. So, he would include someone who is 4th generation for me actually. It is happening. So, somehow it is just that the responsibility is spread out, that everyone is given a responsibility to cover at least the previous 3 generations. So, you don't offer food only to people who are around you. You also offer food who are not around as gross body. Can you imagine this? This is what we are. Our culture recognizes this Karana Sharira and still keeps the relationships. This is because in samsara we keep the relationships always, not sannyasa. In samsara we keep relationships. So relationships are kept intact not only with gross body. It is with gross body, it is with subtle body as well as causal body. Gross body how? They are all available and then tilak vilak sab rakhte hai, wo sab ho gaya. Subtle body how? Even if your son or daughter is in US, a call can just make it all different. They are not available next to you, not at all. It is energy what is coming in. It is just, everyone knows it is energy. Sound is energy, it is conveyed as light, again decoded as sound. It is just sound and visuals what we are seeing. So basically, we are only, kind of handling it subtly. It is more subtle. So we are able to support the family even when they are not in front of us. We have that reverence, unconcern. Similarly, even when they are as Karana Sharira, our culture has given us that awareness to be responsible and accountable for them as well. That's our culture. So this Karana Sharira is what is mistakenly used, loosely used sometimes in the daily usage as Atma. Atma udhar upar ja raha hai. Atma upar kabhi nahi jata. The one which is everywhere, how can it go upar or niche? There is no concept of upar or niche for Atma, because in that everything happens. That is the invariable. So the invariable will not sit down in one place and get up and go and fly in another place. Not at all. All this flying is all gross body, subtle body, causal body. World of matter and energy. That which is the absolute is that Nirguna, that Atma, in which every possibility is happening and they are all compensating. This is how it is. Like, I can just give a glimpse of this. You have matter, you have antimatter. They compensate, they become zero. So this witness will see matter as well as antimatter and also compensating as zero. It will also see zero. Every principle, every tattva, everything that is gross, subtle or causal, everything, how much ever finer it might be, it is all in this. And this is just one single thing. So that is what Shastra is delivering. So the one who is born again is that Karana Sharira. He is that person who is definitely associated with Atma. With Atma only everything is happening. For example, a son is driving Mercedes Benz at crazily 200 kilometers at night, maybe after booze. The power comes from father. It's father's money, father's car. Simply, son has no power. And this causal body is desiring, boss, now I have to be born as a big Rakshasa, who can kill all Devas. If this is the Sankalpa, many Rakshasas will have this Sankalpa, right? Okay, fine, I am dying now, but I want to be born again because I want to kill this guy. So this Sankalpa can be there. So that Sankalpa is embedded in the Karana Sharira, and this guy will wander for that kind of a body. So if the body is still not made, then he has to stand in the queue saying, boss, merely utna chaita. Last time I had 10 heads. Now I want the 11th one also. Or even at least the 12th one to make it a dozen at least. My name can be changed maybe to a dozen guy, whatever it is. So I want this. So then he has to be waiting for it. No, unless someone makes that body. He has to wait for it. So that Karana Sharira is the one who wanders. And forget this, a simple thing. From day 1 to day 2, when we sleep and get up, we come up as the same person who has the continuous desires. I want to achieve this, I want to crack IAS exam. Every next day he is waking up to that preparation of, preparation for this IAS exam. Simple thing, we wake up with the same desires. Again sleep, again wake up with the same desires. So manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. That is what is happening. So the one who is the desirer, he is at a very sukshma level. And that sukshma is called, but much more even sukshma, where it is kind of coded. That is where another name has to be given. The most sukshma has to be given another name, that is Karana. So that Karana, because of that Karana only he comes again. And it is not a big deal. It is very simple as, you would know from maybe from the time mobile was ever introduced. Okay, I'm sure some of us also will have the same example. You will have the same perhaps number through a SIM card. Assuming the same SIM card was also the same. Normally technology changes. Assuming this technology is also the same. The same SIM card, you would have moved it around so many mobiles. Motorola and all is not even heard today these days. So we had Motorola, we had Nokia. Some of the names itself have gone. So those ganas have gone. Actually now we are having some other thing. Android, all the technology is completely changing. But phone number has remained the same, SIM card has remained the same, or at least the service provider has remained the same. Everything has changed. The gross body is completely changing all the time. And the SIM card holds the entire, what you can say. Normally in my example, I link the SIM card to Sukshma Sharira and mobile to Sthula Sharira, and the account, subscriber account which we have either with Vodafone, Idea, whosoever, that account is the Karana Sharira. You can throw the mobile, you can switch the SIM card to somewhere else. You can damage the SIM card, but still account will be there. Because damaging the SIM card doesn't mean that you don't need to pay up your bill of 1 lakh rupees. So we have to pay. If we have really roamed and then called so many people, then we have to pay up. Unless the money is paid up, the account is settled, it doesn't close. They will be after us. So this is what karma is. So karma is held in that account, it will keep accounting until the time it is neutralized. And how karma can be neutralized? It can be neutralized two ways. One is to bear the fruit of it. That is where in astrology, when Sade Sati comes, one has to be objective and calm, saying, "Take away, this is karma of rectification, let us just duck and accept it." Easiest way to accept it. You want to reject, you want to revolt, nothing is going to happen, you will have one more tension. That's all. But you will still undergo that karma. Of course, when you are undergoing that karma with this attitude of yoga bhava, it doesn't affect so much because you are beyond these problems. That's the reason it doesn't affect. So, mind can be trained to accept that, and by accepting that, problem reduces because basically mind is the one which has problem. And if that is taken care of, then problems are not there actually. That's the reason it helps. But what is happening to gross will keep happening to gross because that's what karma is all about. But the subtle mind can be taught to saying, fine, this can happen. Don't worry about it, just stay put. Keep a low profile. For 7.5 years, okay, you may choose not to, but then that's how it is. Okay, fine, I better stay put. That's all. This is what happens actually. So, this is how karma works actually. So, to summarize, Atma is that which ever exists. It should not be confused with the Karana Sharira, who is more like the Pitru whom we invoke normally. It is not that which is wandering and waiting for another body. No, not that. So that somewhere we can, I don't know, we are not native English, so I cannot say if it is spirit or not. But then that is the one which is different. Hope it answered the question. But it's good actually, only when you ask questions, will I really know where the misunderstanding is. Because these terms are all introduced to us, and many a times it is intertwined when used in the daily language. It is intertwined, and of course various cultures also would have a different meaning. So then context has to be built. So Vedanta is referring to certain things in a particular way. In that particular way only we can understand this and come out of it actually. That's the reason it's important for people to talk. Thanks Manishji for this. It's very important that you ask this question.
Sir, yes? I have a one more request.
Okay, Sonia ji, you can just go after Manishji. Sonia had one question.
I only have a request. No question. Sir, as a part of Dharma Purushartha, as a part, the journey we are into, it is extremely important to do a Trikal Sandhya.
That is the model given right at the beginning actually to people, because it throws open this world of knowledge and karma both.
And in the Trikal Sandhya, I also understand the small discussions which we had about it. You also showed me how it is to be done when I was at your place. And you also showed that it is that the power you are giving to the Devtas. You are doing you are arpan and you are giving your power, so how powerful you are. So in one of the sessions, can you please take a one session on Trikal, importance of Trikal Sandhya?
Oh, definitely.
And
I will
that will give us that how it will, because this is something, the power of Atma.
Yes, definitely.
Which is even more than the Devtas itself. And that realization is Trikal Sandhya.
So, Trikala Sandhya ritual, it's a Nitya Karma, and this entire Vedanta is embedded, sprinkled in that ritual in some of those steps. It is kept inside. It's just that someone has to understand that this is what it is. This is what Vedanta is. And normally when Shravana is done, they focus more on internalizing the mantra, and then Manana happens, Nididhyasana happens little later when people are able to do this Vichara with this kind of a mind. So that's when it is done. So for example, if a particular capsule is very important, it is just brought and kept. But for one to consume, it can be consumed later as well, whenever. But at least it is kept. So this Nitya Karma is all kind of a package of treasure just given to us so that this gross body can be disciplined just by following the rituals, and mantra, the gross as well as subtle, both these are being prepared, and they are in the right line actually of growth. So the Satvikata is embedded by following these rituals, and a Satvika mind only is required for knowledge. The maximum of Sattva Guna we get, we are close to knowledge, because Sattva is of the nature of knowledge. So Manishi, definitely I'll take, probably even the next session itself I can take that Trikala Sandhi concept and explain everything that is Vedanta in that. I had taken a similar class in Gurukulam of Dwarka. So I will definitely do that. Maybe next time, in next class itself, I'll do that, next session.
Thank you.
Sonia, you had some question. You had some point perhaps.
After, I just wanted this, we are saying that Atma is not the body. Can I say that I am not the body?
Yes.
Just with reference to that slide only. Atma is not the body.
Yes.
Now I'm saying, suppose I'm trying to explain it to my son or the next generation. Now that child is, we have all those notions. We have learned like Atma, and we think of Karan Sharira and all those things. But there is another generation, or there is a person, for example, and that person is devoid of all this information and is not into that information. Now I tell that person that I am not the body, or you are not the body. And the question comes that, no, I am the body, because the moment this body ceases to exist, I am not there. That's there. That's from that perspective I'm saying.
No, the last part, can you repeat? Once you say I'm not the body, then?
See, I told that my child, say, I'm not the body. He says, no, you are the body, because the moment you die, you cease to exist.
Understand. Yes. So you complete and then I'll answer.
No. So my only point is that I'm like to explain it to someone like this, who's like not at all attuned to the concept of like we are. No?
I understand.
We are into Atma, and we are into Karan Sharira and all those things. But that person is not ready to accept any of this premise. I'm using the word premise because initially we take it as a premise and then proceed from there.
Okay.
That person is not ready to take on that premise.
Okay, I have a question. Are you through?
No, that is the only question.
See, what was the context in which you discussed this with that person? First thing. Second thing, was it because the child had a doubt?
No. Actually, I just brought it up.
This is where this is very important. We can never bring this topic to someone who is not initiated and who is not having this question. Basically, samsara sets up this experience where a person is driven towards mumukshutvam. Only when a person is a mumukshu will these things make sense.
Right.
So, Atma Jnana is for that person. It's basically for everyone. However, it works for a person who has found the necessity for it. So if you ask me, if someone has worldly problems, are they immediately going to go to a person who's a Vedanta teacher? Not necessarily. They may not even know. But they will definitely be discussing their problems, saying, I have huge, big problems, and I'm really frustrated with world. So these would be the indications. So when that happens, and it can be the other way as well. I have everything in life. Everything in life. Name it, I have everything. I have kingdom, this, everything. But something I lack. I don't know what's the I'm lacking something. I want something more. So when people display these kind of, what you can say, indication, these kind of traits, at that time, a statement saying, yes, you are that Purna, and there is something which is to be known, which completes a person, and that perhaps may help. So, if that statement is made, then the person gets a clue saying, oh, is there something yet to be achieved? I thought I've achieved everything.
Right.
That's where the context has to be created. Once the connection is there, then whatever you say makes sense.
Right.
So, that's more important. The person has to be contextually connected.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I got it.
yeah, exactly. Two, if I in Bhagavad Gita also, I think it is said somewhere. Unfortunately, I don't remember exactly the verse. It is said that never discuss this with a person who is uninitiated, because that person will be having some knowledge. Now, by saying this, that knowledge also he will be confused with. He will say whether those things are correct or not. He will be confused totally. So that might happen. So it's very important to bring up this topic only with those who can connect and whom you feel very clearly that yes, they may get into the right track. So that caution one has to definitely apply. It's very important.
So in the context,
Yeah, Ramya. Yeah, thank you. Ramya has a
so
question.
in the context of what Sonia had asked, so if she's talking to a child, say for example, it's our own child. You're talking to your own child. So if you know that your child can understand, or we take another whatever example she said, the child is not initiated into this. So to give them some base or something to stand on and then move towards this, will turning them towards bhakti or turning them
Gross.
towards gross elements, initially giving them the form and then fixing their mind to something and then taking them ahead will
That's what is done normally. So since the default understanding is that we are gross body, Shastra also uses that predisposition as an advantage for upasana and bhakti. So Shastra gives everything about Dvaita Bhava only from that default understanding. The default understanding is there is something which is outside of me which is creating this world, and I am also that created only, and I better follow what is mentioned, and I better have this upasana to really understand it. So people who are into this upasana, they would also use this upasana, and they will never, the intention is not that eternally they have to be into upasana, they have to ideally graduate. This is why you have acharyas who come and say, or Upanishad also says that chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdhaye. It does purify mind, but it will not fetch you that ultimate vastu. So you have been performing puja, very good, but do you want to graduate to the next level? If the answer is yes, then Vedanta is there. If the answer is no, I am happy with what I am doing, no problem, stay there. Because in any case, you have another chance, either in this birth or another birth. So that's how the Shastra says, so it doesn't hurry up at all actually. Good, I can see it's already 7:38. Okay, thanks for all those questions. We'll chant Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om all, have a nice day.
Hari Om.